We will start in a few minutes. Comsec, can we ask all the invited resource persons to take the seat or the seats on the right side of the hall?
Those invited from the PNP, please take your seats. And all others, invitees. Pages, please.
Senator.
Okay, magandang umaga po sa lahat. Welcome to the 9th joint public hearing of the Quad Committee. On behalf of the Committee on Dangerous Drugs, the meeting is now called to order.
On behalf of the Committee of Public Order and Safety, this QUADCOMM hearing is now called to order.
For the Committee on Human Rights, this Quad Committee is now called to order.
For the Committee on Public Accounts, this hearing is now called to order.
Okay, Comsec, can you please lead the prayer for today's committee hearing?
We would like to request everyone to please stand for our prayer. And let us place ourselves in the presence of God. O divine Creator, gracious and merciful Lord, we humbly thank you for your constant presence as we gather in your name, seeking your wisdom and blessings in our quest for truth and justice. We sincerely ask for your forgiveness and pray that you cleanse our hearts and minds so that we may be worthy of your divine guidance. With your almighty hands, let us lead us gently towards the right path and help us achieve our aspirations as a nation under God. Hear the cries of those who have been oppressed and victimized by violence, and use these proceedings as a means for them to find the justice they deserve. Help us find peace in our hearts, and clarity with our minds, feel clouded so that we may not condemn in haste. Finally, dear Lord, grant us the strength to face our unseen struggles within and the courage to navigate the storms that weigh heavy on our spirits so that we may emerge stronger and wiser through the trials we face. We humbly ask this in your mighty name. Amen. And please remain standing for our national anthem to be led by Kimo Gumatay, the Grand Champion, Idol Philippines Season 2.
Bayang magiliw, perlas ng silanganan, alab ng puso, sa dibdib mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, duyan ka ng magiting, sa manlulupig, di ka pasisiil, sa dagat at bundok, sa simoy at sa langit mong bughaw, may dilag ang tulat, awit sa paglayang minamahal, ang kislap ng watawat mo'y tagumpay na nagniningning, ang bituin at araw niyang kailan, pag may di magdidilim, lupa ng araw ng luwal, hatid pagsinta, buhay ay langit sa piling mo. aming ligaya ng pag may mga api ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Thank you. That's Mr. Kimo Gumatay, the Grand Champion of Idol Philippines Season 2.
Pwede ba kumanta dyan sa susunod?
Thank you, Mr. Gumatay. Now we proceed with the next part of our agenda for today is the roll call of members and acknowledgement of resource persons. Any motion?
Mr. Chair,
Congressman Akop,
may respectfully move that we dispense with the calling of the rolls. So move, Mr. Chair.
there is a motion to dispense with the calling of the roll. Duly seconded. Hearing no objection, the motion is carried. The next part of the agenda for today's committee hearing is the approval of the minutes of the meeting held last October 11, 2024. Any motion? Is there any motion?
Mr. Chair, may we respectfully move that we dispense with the reading of the minutes of the last hearing. So
There-
move, Mr. Chair.
There is a motion to dispense with the reading of the minutes of the last hearing held October 11, 2024. Duly seconded. Hearing no objection, the motion is carried. So we will now proceed with the next part of the agenda, and please allow the chair for his opening remarks. Honorable Senior Deputy Speaker Aurelio Dong Gonzales, Deputy Speaker J.J. Suarez, Co-Chairman and Vice Chair of the QUADCOMM, our former President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning and welcome to the 9th meeting of this joint committee. Today, we shall continue this hearing on the extrajudicial killings that took place on a massive and wide scale during the war on drugs of the last administration. In the last hearing, we listened to the testimonies of some of the victims' families, the testimonies of Kerwin Espinosa, whose father was killed inside the provincial detention facility in Baybay, Leyte, during the serving of a search warrant, and the testimonies of those police officers who served the warrant. Today, we shall hear the testimonies of the jail guards who were on duty at that time. We hope to find out the circumstances from their perspective, given the conflicting versions of the resource persons who testified previously. We also heard the testimony of former PNP Colonel Royina Garma. In her affidavit and testimony, she admitted that the extrajudicial killings were conceptualized based on the Davao model or template, a system that has been in operation in Davao City the whole time that former President Rodrigo Duterte served as the mayor. In the alleged template, for every drug personality killed, a monetary reward is given to the killer. Colonel Garma pointed to former Davao City Police Chief, now Senator Ronald Bato de la Rosa, as the implementer of the Davao City war on drugs when Mayor Rodrigo Roa Duterte became president. She then revealed that former colleague Colonel Edilberto Leonardo was the one chosen by the former president to head the nationwide implementation of the war on drugs, together with then PNP Chief Ronald Bato de la Rosa and then Special Assistant to the President Christopher Bongo, who allegedly handled the reward system of the implementation. We have seen the facts and the figures of the bloody war on drugs. By official police records, thousands upon thousands lost their lives due to the wrong manner and excessive use of force and the abuses committed by those who implemented Oplan Tokhang and Oplan Double Barrel. The reward is simply too tempting to let pass, resulting to the gruesome and systematic massacre of people whose names were included in the so-called narco list, either before they were killed or added later on to justify their killings. From the testimonies of both sides of the killing fields, we established that indeed extrajudicial killings was an indispensable part of the war on drugs, encouraged as it was by the leadership that emboldened the perpetrators to carry out with the promise of great reward, which was indeed and in fact delivered. Hindi po gawa-gawa ng QUADCOMM ang mga nasabing bagay na ito. Ito po ay napatunayang totoong nangyari noong mga panahong yon. Marami pa po ang mga dumarating at nagsasalaysay ng kanilang mga malagim na karanasan. Sina Colonel Garma, Colonel Mendoza, Colonel Padilla ay kusang loob na nagsalaysay ng kanilang nalalaman ukol sa mga karahasang ito na hindi naman sana kailangan gawin kung may paggalang lamang tayo sa buhay ng tao, sa mga karapatang pantao at may takot sa Diyos. Ang akala natin noon ay ilan lamang ang mga biktima at lahat sila ay nanlaban kung kaya't sinapit ang kanilang katapusan sa kamay ng batas. Ngayon lamang po natin nalaman na hindi pala ganoon ang totoong pangyayari. Sa pamamagitan ng mga pamilya ng mga biktima at sa pag-amin na din ng mga dating inatasan na magpatupad nito, ating naliwanagan ang katotohanan. Sa ganitong kadahilanan, tungkulin ng Kongresong ito, ng buong gobyerno, ng lahat ng ahensya at nating lahat na magtulungan upang siguruhin na mabigyan ng tamang hustisya ang bayan at ang biktima at magbalangkas ng mga hakbang upang tiyakin na hindi na mangyayari pang muli ang mga ito sa ating kasaysayan. Titiyakin natin na sa ating poder dito sa Kongreso ay may mga isusulong tayong panukala upang mabantayan palalo ang ating mga karapatan. Sa tiwala ninyong lahat sa QUADCOMM, kami ay nagpapasalamat at nangangakong hindi dito magtatapos ang lahat. Umpisa pa lamang po ito ng pagkamit ng hustisya para sa bayan. Magandang umaga at maraming salamat po. The next to deliver his opening remarks is the Chair of the Committee on Human Rights, Congressman Benny Abante. You are now recognized.
Maraming salamat, Mr. Chair, sa atin pong Senior Deputy Speaker, Don Gonzales, sa ating Deputy Speaker, JJ Suarez. Gayun din, kinikilala ko ang former Pangulo ng Pilipinas, GMA. Gayun din ay sa aking mga tireless na mga co-chairs, distinguished colleagues na kasama po natin dito. At gayon din po, gusto ko rin kilalanin ang dating Senador DELIMA at ang ating mga resource persons. Mga kababayan, magandang umaga po sa inyo. As we open this 9th hearing of the Quad Committee, let me begin by saying that this representation is heartened by the progress we have made. The journey has not been easy. It has been long and tedious and tiring. But though our work is far from over, we have already begun to see action as a result of the information and evidence we have gathered. Ito po ay binanggit na sa atin ng pinaka-chair po ng QUADCOMM na ito, si Congressman Ace Barbers. For example, together with my fellow chairs, we have filed a bill, House Bill number 10986, that seeks to classify extrajudicial killings as heinous crimes, crimes that, if proven, will be punishable by life imprisonment or 20 to 40 years in prison. Ito po ay significant step towards ensuring that those who commit such grave acts will face the full force of the law, whoever they might be. Ito po ay hakbang para di na maulit ang karumal-dumal na patayan na naganap sa war on drugs, a war that unfairly and tragically claimed the lives of innocents in the name of protecting the innocent. The war on drugs po na ginawa ng dating administrasyon, wala po akong problema dyan. Ang malaking problema ko ay kung bakit kinakailangan merong mga pinatay na more than 20,000. Yan ang malaking problema ng ating bayan ngayon. We have also filed a bill, House Bill number 10987, that seeks to prohibit all forms of offshore gaming operations in the country and provide penalties for violations thereof. Additionally, the House Quad Committee has turned over critical documents to the Office of the Solicitor General. These documents pertain to the land acquisitions and properties believed to be owned, procured, or acquired by Chinese nationals in violation of our Constitution. We have urged the OSG to move swiftly and file severe forfeiture cases against those accused of fraudulently obtaining Philippine citizenship to illegally acquire land and operate businesses here. Our message is clear. We cannot allow foreigners to steal our land under our very noses. The law must be applied. And no one should profit from actions that undermine the integrity of our nation, especially foreigners who exploit the gaps and weaknesses in our bureaucracy. Meron ding mga LGU na kasama dito sa pagkakabenta ng mga lupang ito. Samantalang napakaraming mga kababayan natin ang walang lupa at walang bahay, pero itong mga foreigners na ito ay nagmamay-ari na napakalaking lupa sa iba't ibang dako sa ating bansa. It is true that the gears of the law may sometimes grind slowly, but as we have seen, when properly oiled with testimony, evidence, and the steadfast desire to obtain justice, those gears will eventually crush the guilty. Our work may be exhausting, and at the end of each hearing, we may find ourselves tired and weary, but we know it is worth it when we see our patience and perseverance rewarded with progress. We know it is worth it when we see justice being served. To the craven who continue to run and hide in order to evade the long reach of the law, or those who cannot own up to their actions and face this committee, your time will come. To former President Rodrigo Duterte, who has signified his intention to appear before the Quad Committee, get well soon. Sana po makapunta kayo sa susunod na hearing. Sana po samahan ka ng ibang invited personalities na nagtatago pa rin. Sana po sa pagpunta nyo rito, marami mga katanungan ang maaari po ninyong sagutin. My friends, the Bible offers us encouragement in Galatians chapter 6 verse number 9, and I quote, "And let us not be weary in well-doing, for in due season we shall reap if we faint not." End of quote. This passage speaks directly to the spirit that drives the Quad Committee. It reminds us that while the path of justice is often long and arduous, it is a path worth walking. It is this commitment to a just cause that gives us the willpower and endurance to hold these marathon hearings and to slowly unearth the evidence that will be responsible for exacting accountability for years of wrongdoing. To my fellow members, to the resource persons who have come forward with the truth, and to every Filipino who yearns for a just society, let us continue to press on. We may grow tired, but we will not give up. We believe that the pursuit of justice is not only our duty, but our calling. At dahilan po sa ating Quad Committee hearings na ito na po ang pinapanood ng maraming ating mga kababayan. Ayon nga po sa sinabi sa article ng Chief Justice Art Panganiban na ito pong QUADCOMM na ito ang pinaka-telenovela ng maraming mga kababayan. Bakit po? Sapagkat live and real time ang ating pinag-uusapan dito. Kaya mga kaibigan, sa aking mga kasangga, maraming salamat po and may we continue to serve the cause of justice with faith in the Almighty and unwavering resolve. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much, Congressman Abante. The next to deliver his opening remarks is the Chair of the Committee of Public Order and Safety, Congressman Dan Fernandez. You are recognized.
Mr. Chairman, I will not be delivering any preliminary remarks on this ninth committee hearing.
Thank you, Congressman Fernandez, for cooperating. The next to deliver his opening remarks is Congressman Caraps Paduano, the Chair of the Committee on Public Accounts.
Thank
You
you,
are
Mr. Chairman.
recognized.
As practiced by this representation, I would like to submit once again my opening remarks to expedite the discussion, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you likewise for cooperating, Congressman Paduano. We now proceed with the next part of the agenda. Comsec, you are directed to recognize and acknowledge the presence of our honorable members and acknowledge as well the presence of our resource persons for today's committee hearing. Comsec.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Honorable members of this committee, ladies and gentlemen. For this 9th joint public hearing, we have with us the following members. Representative Robert Ace S. Barbers, Senior Deputy Speaker Aurelio Don Gonzales Jr., Representative Dan S. Fernandez, Representative Joseph Stephen Caraps Paduano, Representative Bienvenido M. Abante Jr., Deputy Speaker David J.J. Suarez, Representative Romeo M. Acop, Representative Arlene Brosas, Representative George Patrol Bustos, Representative Jerville Jinky Betrix R. Luistro, Representative Raul Daniel A. Manuel, Representative Jonathan Keith T. Flores, Representative Gloria Macapagal Arroyo, Representative Francisco Paulo P. Ortega V, Representative Johnny T. Pimentel, Representative Grace Christine Singson Mihan, Deputy Speaker, Representative Jefferson Conghun, Representative Salvador Plato, Representative Reynante U. Arrogancia, Representative Franz Castro, Representative Steve Chongbian Solon, Representative Ray T. Reyes, Representative Arthur S. Garcia Jr., Representative Ramon Rodrigo Gutierrez, Representative Franz S. Pumaren, Representative Bonifacio L. Busita, Representative Roberto V. Puno, Representative Crispin Jigo Ping Rimulya. For our resource persons, Your Honors, for our resource persons, we have from the Bureau of Immigration, we have with us the Commissioner, Attorney Joel Anthony M. Viado, and Attorney Victor Uncad. From the Commission on Human Rights, we have the chairperson, Attorney Richard P. Palpalatok, Mr. Dennis De La Peña, and Ms. Rachel Pilayo. From the Department of Justice, we have Assistant Prosecutor Agnes Arellano. From the National Police Commission, we have Honorable Alberto A. Bernardo, the Chairperson and the Executive Officer of NAPOLCOM, and Director Chito Noel Bustonera and Director Edmar B. Pares, and also Attorney Neylan Ley Gandeza, Ms. Jinky Rose Palabrica, all of NAPOLCOM. From the National Bureau of Investigation, we have its Assistant Director for Investigation, Attorney Angelito Magno, Ms. Attorney Omar M. Orilie, Attorney Dennis Victor Asistio, and Attorney Florendo Gamunak. From the Office of the Solicitor General, we have Attorney Lorelai Castro, Attorney Lenny Layug Delfin, Mr. Niel E. Lorenzo, and Mr. Ruben Aison Jr., Senior State Prosecutor. From the Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency, we have its Director General, General Moro Virgilio Lazo, Attorney Hill T. Pabilona, Director Emeterio M. Bitong, Attorney Francis Del Valle, and Director Wardley M. Hitalia, and also Colonel Rolando Magno. From the Philippine National Police, we have with us Attorney Brigido de Jesus Dulay of their Internal Affairs, Police Brigadier General Constancio Chinayog Jr., the Chief of PNP DPRM, Police Brigadier General Nicolas Torre III of CIDG, Police Brigadier General Eleazar Mata of PIDEG, Police Colonel Lito E. Patay, Police Colonel Roland A. Villela, Police Colonel Hector Guijaldo Jr., Police Colonel Serafin Pitalio, Police Colonel and now retired Jovi Espenido, Police Lieutenant Colonel Chuck Barandog, Police Major Kenneth Paul C. Albotra, Police Major Leo Laraga, Police Corporal Junjun Obales, Police Major Emil Garcia, Police Colonel Raycon Garduque, and the Chief of Police, former Chief of Police of Laguna, Police Colonel Pastor Castillo, and Police Lieutenant Colonel Brian Dexter Andulan, and also we have with us Police General Reynaldo Tamundong and Police Colonel Pablito Asmod. Now from the non-government organizations, we have with us from the Center for International Law, Attorney Joel Butuyan. From the Free Legal Assistance Group, we have Attorney Shell Jukno. From the National Union of People's Lawyers, Attorney Maria Cristina Conti. From Rise Up for Life and for Rights, represented by its convener, Diaconess Robilin Litao, together with the families of extrajudicial killings, victims of extrajudicial killings. We also have with us the advocates from Rise Up, Father Manuel Noel Gatchalian, SVD, Diaconess Norma Doliaga, Missionary Rebecca Lawson, and Leia Valencia, its community coordinator. We also have with us the program Paghilom, led by Father Flavi L. Villanueva, SVD, the founder and president of Paghilom, together with the victims, with the families of the victims of EJKs. And also from the Karapatan Alliance Philippines, we have Miss Cristina E. Palabay, the Secretary General of Karapatan. From the Bureau of Corrections, we have with us Sister Jake Harabe. And from the Leyte Sub-Provincial Jail in Baybay, Leyte, we have the jail guards on duty at the time when the late Mayor Albuera, Mayor Espinosa was killed. They are led by its warden, Manuel Nicolas Abuda. And for other key personalities, we have with us the former Senator, Ma'am LEILA DELIMA, and the former Chief of Staff of Police Colonel Garma, Attorney Carol K. Paquera, and the journalist Manuel Mogato. That's all for now, Mr. Chair, Your Honors.
Thank you, Comsec. So before we proceed with the hearing proper, may we ask Congressman Caraps Paduano to... Yeah, may I know, Comsec, if the resource persons invited today, especially the new ones, have taken their oath? And if not, please administer the oath of the resource persons that we invited for today's committee hearing.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would like to request all those who attended for the first time the public hearing. Please stand for the oath. The jail guards from Bye-Bye, please stand also. The jail guards from the provincial jail, yes, please. Okay. All right. Okay, please raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in this public inquiry, so God help you? Thank you. You may now take your seats. The oath has been administered, sir.
Thank you, Comsec. We're also present in our committee hearing today is a former Congressman Jose Christopher Kit Belmonte of the 6th District of Quezon City. Welcome to the committee hearing. Now we proceed with the admin matters. Congressman Paduano.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, we have received a copy of letters coming from the law offices of OI, Cornell, and Villamor on behalf of the Nova Parinog and Rinaldo Parinog Jr. requesting for TSN with regards to the affidavit that was mentioned and that was submitted by Police Colonel Joby Spinedo. And without any authorization coming from the siblings Parinog, Mr. Chairman, we would like to direct the COMSEC to address this letter coming from the offices of OI, Coronel, and Villamor.
Comsec.
Next, Mr.
Please
Chairman,
reply.
with regards to the comparative laboratory explanation of Cassandra Ong's signature on sublease contract, we have with us the document submitted by the NBI. And the note given to us by the NBI is that written by one and the same person, Mr. Chairman, just to inform the Honorable Committee.
This is the findings of the NBI,
NBI, yeah.
on the handwriting or the
Yeah.
signature of Miss Alice,
Cassandra Ong.
Miss Cassandra Ong.
Yeah. And we have also received, Mr. Chairman, the affidavit coming from Police Colonel Paul Albotras. And he's now present. Is Albot? Yes. Now we have received your affidavit. And we have received three complaints, Mr. Chairman, with regards to killings and red tagging coming from Andrea Trinidad, sister of Attorney Anthony Trinidad, which was killed in Gihulngan City, and letter coming from Earl Jane Ralios, the daughter of slain PDA agent, Baby Ralios, who was brutally killed in broad daylight by known assailants in Cebu City. And with this, Mr. Chairman, we would like to take cognizance of this letter, and we will just discuss this matter on a separate discussion, Mr. Chairman. And we also received a letter complaint of Mr. Catanyag against Mr. Harry Roque with regards to a land dispute in Las Piñas. And again, once again, Mr. Chairman, we'd just like to take cognizance of this letter, and we'll just discuss this on a separate discussion, Mr. Chairman. Now, we also received a letter of excuse coming from General Albadealde requesting this committee for him to be excused with an attached medical certificate, Mr. Chairman. And a letter addressed to retired Police Major General Taas with regards to the contempt order for Cassandra Ong, and this will last until October 24. That will be on Thursday, Mr. Chairman. So we can discuss this matter on the later part of this hearing, Mr. Chairman. COMSEC, please take note of this letter from the
Sergeant at Arms.
Sergeant at Arms. We have also received a copy of a letter coming from Yvonne Barandog requesting her to be excused in this hearing. And once again, she reiterated question of attached with the medical certificate, Mr. Chairman, from Cebu City Medical Center.
So she's just asking to be excused for
Yeah.
today's committee hearing.
Yeah.
That's noted. Comsec, please take note.
And lastly, Mr. Chair, and some resource person that was invited is not present in today's hearing. And I think no reply from these personalities. From the Bucor CO3, Jake Harabe, you're present. Thank you. And Police Colonel Madera. Comsec, did you receive any reply?
Sir, we have an information that it's Police Colonel Matira, but still not present.
So no reply. He has not received the invitation since the name is not correct.
We coursed through the invitation through the PNP, sir.
Thank you. PNP, please take note of the invitation for a certain Police Colonel Matera. And of course, Corporal Jeremy Kausim is the subject of our contempt order. And until now, Corporal Jeremy Kausapin, alias Tox, cannot be found. Can we ask General Torre with regards to the status of Jeremy Kausapin?
General Torre?
Your Honor, sir, we're still looking for Mr. Kausapin. When he was first mentioned in the QUADCOMM a few weeks back, we immediately visited his house with the purpose of securing him. However, we were met by his wife, who submitted to us signed and certified resignation letter together with a firearm and his badge, and telling us that her husband is nowhere to be found already. So we're conducting a manhunt for the guy, sir.
Thank you, General Torre. Same is true with SPO4 Arthur Narsoles.
For the case of SPO4 Narsoles, sir, he is already retired. We have already coordinated with our PRBS because he is out of contact of the PNP, considering that he availed of the lump sum. And in the next few months, his 3 years lump sum will already be due, and he will be receiving the monthly lump sum, and we'll be using this also as a tracer for him. However, right now, we are also looking for him, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, General Torre.
Thank you, sir.
Comsec, have we received an explanation for SPO4 Loretta Villarta Griar?
Yes, sir. She sent a letter of excuse.
I don't have a copy of that. Dito ba? Ano, medical rin? So, Mr. Chairman, I move that we once again invite retired SPO4 Loretta Villarta in the next hearing, Mr. Chairman.
Comsec, please, you are directed to invite the said resource person in our next committee hearing. Anything else, Congressman Paduano?
Anyway, we have invited on the second time Ms. Risinana Hustol, former Deputy Executive Secretary for Finance and Administration, Office of the President. What's the status?
Yes,
Comsec?
sir. We have invited Ms. Hustol, but she's still she's not around. She has not presented herself in the meeting.
But she received the invitation.
There's no confirmation also whether she received the letter.
Saan po dumaan yung invitation?
Still, we course through the PNP, sir.
General Torre, have you any information with regards to invitation for Miss Rizalina Hustol?
I think she is not in our list right now, sir. I have only a list of... Thanks, sir.
Okay. Anyway, through the chair, can we direct the COMSEC once again to invite Rizalina Hustol and course through it to the General Torre of the PNP?
Comsec, you are directed to coordinate with the PNP with regards to the invitation to be sent to Miss Rizalina Hustol. Comsec,
Mr. Chairman, we have also invited, this is the second invitation for Mr. Chito Manalak of Global Tech, Pirianang Bayan. What's the status, COMSEC?
We tried to locate this person, sir, but we haven't gotten his address.
Through the chair, can we direct the COMSEC, Mr. Chairman, to coordinate with PCSO at the same time with General Torre with regards to the invitation for Mr. Chito Manalak of Global Tech?
Comsec, please comply.
Yes, sir.
And invitation for PDL Dondon, as mentioned by Kerwin Espinosa, is Dondon present? PDL Dondon. COMSEC, have you sent an invitation for PDL Dondon?
We course through that, sir, to the provincial warden of Leyte. We are not yet certain if they have information on PDL Dondon.
Any representative from the provincial jail management in Leyte?
The warden is present, sir.
Sir, Warden, we have an invitation for a certain PDL Dondon.
Good morning, Mr. Chair. Certain PDL din Dondon Palermo was already discharged from our custody by virtue of a court order.
So, he was already released.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
When was that?
And perhaps 3 years already, Mr. Chair.
Well, anyway, to the chair once again, we direct COMSEC to invite PDL Dondon and get the full name of that PDL through the warden of Provincial Jail Management, Penalty in Leyte, and course through to the PNP.
Comsec, you are directed to comply with the request of Congressman Paduano.
Yes, sir.
With regards to Espinosa siblings, the mother of Kerwin Espinosa, the sister of Kerwin Espinosa, Linda Rosal, household cleaner, Landa Sumalag, the household cleaner, and Tessie Austria, household cleaner. Are they present in today's hearing?
There is no information, sir, if they are around, but we have sent the invitation to them. We carry it off sa lawyers niya.
Through the lawyers?
Yes, sir.
To the chair once again, please follow up this with regards to the invitation of the next hearing for all those mentioned names.
Comsec, please comply.
And lastly, a group of personalities mentioned by Police Colonel Garma, a certain Hermina Muking Espinas, staff of Senator Bongo. Si Muking, andito ba? Have you sent an invitation, COMSEC?
Yes, sir. And Ms. Muking has not presented herself, but we sent an invitation through the office of the senator.
With that, Mr. Chairman, I move to issue a show cause order for Hermina Muking Espina for her absence in the day's hearing. So move, Mr. Chairman.
There is a motion to issue a show cause order to Ms. Muking, Ms.
Espina.
Ms.
Hermina
Espina.
Muking Espina.
and to be present in the next committee hearing of the QUADCOMM. COMSEC, please comply.
How about
Yes.
Mr. Peter Parongo?
The same is true with Mr. Parungal, sir. We tried to locate him. Unfortunately, there is no address yet.
Once again to the chair. Yes, General Torre.
Feedback, sir. We serve a letter to his residence at Davao City. The letter was received by his wife, sir.
Also, since the letter was received in his residence and received by his wife, Mr. Chairman, and he's not present today, sir, I move to issue a show cause order for Mr. Romel Parongo to explain why he should be cited in contempt for the next hearing, Mr. Chairman, and be present the next hearing.
There
So
is a
move.
motion to issue a show cause order to Peter Parungo. Duly seconded. Are there any objections? Hearing none, the motion is carried.
For Romel Baktat. Comsec, for Romel Baktat, we have also invited.
We coursed through the invitation to the PNP, sir.
We served the letter, sir, at in his house in Turil, sir, Davao City, and the letter was received by his son.
Since Mr. Romel Baktat is not present in today's hearing without any explanation, Mr. Chairman, I move that we issue a show cause order for Mr. Romel Baktat. So move.
There is a motion to issue a show cause order to Mr.
Romel Baktat.
Romel Baktat. Duly seconded. Hearing no objection, the motion is carried.
For invitation for Rodel Serbo.
And through the PNP, sir.
Yes,
We
General Torre.
delivered a letter to his known addresser, but the house is already abandoned in Davao City, sir.
So,
We are again
We never
looking for
received-
other addresses for Mr. Rodel Serbo, sir, and we'll be giving feedback to this committee when.
thank you,
the
General Torre.
information- Yes,
Once
sir.
again, through the chair, to direct the COMSEC to once again invite Mr. Rodel Serbo in the next hearing.
COMSEC, please comply.
How about Michael Palma?
Sir, we brought the letter, the invitation letter, to his house in Mintal, Davao City, and it was received by his housekeeper, and he has another registered address in Island Garden City of Samal, and it was received by his previous live-in partner, and we have so delivered those letters, sir.
Thank you, Gen Torre. Yeah, since Michael Palma is not present in today's hearing, I move that we issue a show cause order for Michael Palma. So move, Mr. Chairman.
There is a motion to issue a show cause order to Mr. Michael Palma for being absent in our committee hearing today. Duly seconded. Are there any objections? Hearing none, motion is carried.
How about Lester Berganyo?
We have not found any address for Mr. Beganyo as of the moment, sir. We are still locating any known address, sir.
Once again, Mr. Chairman, may we direct COMSEC to coordinate with the PNP to once again invite certain Lester Berganyo. So move, Mr. Chairman.
COMSEC, please comply.
And second to the last, Mr. Chairman, isa na lang po, after this, for Sunny Binaventura.
We had invited the person, sir, and it was personally received by the person in his residence in Barangay Peña Plata in Island Garden City of Samal, sir.
Once again, Mr. Chairman, since Mr. Binaventura, Sunny Binaventura received invitation letter to his residence, I move that we issue a show cause order for Mr. Sunny Binaventura. So move, Mr. Chairman.
There is a motion to issue a show cause order to Mr. Sani Benaventura for failing to appear before this committee today. Duly seconded by Congresswoman Jinky Luistro, and hearing no objection, the motion is carried.
And lastly, Mr. Chairman, we have received a letter coming from Attorney Martin Videlgra, representing the former President, Honorable Rodrigo Roa Duterte. But we never, and the reason why the former President will be excused in today's hearing because of he needs more rest. He is currently not feeling well and he is need of much rest. So, Mr. Chairman, first and foremost, there is no an authority coming from the former president that he will be represented by Attorney Martin V. Delga. And at the same time, no medical certificate confirming that indeed the former president will be excused in today's hearing because of his medical situation.
If I may, Your Honor, as we all know, the former president is already old and has been experiencing, based on media reports, has been sick lately and has actually had his medical checkup, I believe. And I think, in deference to the former president, I think we should afford him the courtesy that is due to him by not requiring him to submit to this committee a medical certificate. Let us give him that extension of our courtesy to him being the former president, and his intention to appear before this committee in the subsequent hearings that we will schedule. So, if I may, Your Honor, let us not pursue the submission of medical certificate from the former president.
But Mr. Chairman, under our rules, no, malinaw po, tradition, all resource persons being invited in every hearing, especially in inquiry in the legislation, we need for him to explain. And the issue here, Mr. Chairman, of course, Attorney Martin Delgra sent us a letter representing the president, former president, but without an authority coming from the former president.
Perhaps that
And
was just...
Mr. Chairman, we have our internal rules.
I know, Your Honor.
And when in
but,
fact during
these
the
are
previous
just-
hearings, well, in fact during the hearing on public on dangerous drugs, twice we excused Attorney Fortun, representing supposedly Michael Young, without any authority from Michael Young. And when in fact he presented us authority coming from his office to the corporation being listed.
Well, Your Honor,
To Michael Young.
if I may, we're not, this representation is not asking for the former president not to be excused in not following strictly the rules of the House. What I am asking for, Your Honor, is the request that we should not ask or demand a medical certification coming from the former president, because we all know that he has reached an age of a fragile age. Therefore, maybe we can grant that exception to the former president.
Mr. Chairman,
Your
point
Honor.
of information. Point of information. May I be allowed? Kasi,
With the indulgence of
yes, with the
Congressman
indulgence, Apo.
Paduano, what is the point of information?
because I haven't read yet, no. I wanted to be clarified on something about the letter that was sent to us by the former president. Was it included in the letter that he is sick right now, or he need more rest in order to be a part of this?
No, I believe, Your Honor, that the lawyer clearly stated in that letter that he needs rest.
And the Chairman Paduano is asking for
If
a
the chair
medical
will
certificate.
allow me to read in toto, no, part of that letter. He is currently not feeling well and is in need of much rest. But Mr. Chairman, once again, let me, first thing first, since no authority coming from the former president to be represented by Attorney Martin Bidelgra, they have to produce. The committee should direct the former president to issue an authority for Mr. Attorney Martin Delgra for him to be represented by this attorney. And with regards to the medical certificate, Mr. Chairman, of course, for humanitarian and giving due courtesy to the former president, I might yield to the position of the chair. But on the first issue with regards to authority coming to former president being represented, claimed by Attorney Martin Delgra, we have to get an authority from the president.
Yes.
That Attorney Martin Delgra will represent him on the
Congressman
next hearing.
Paduano,
Thank you,
if I
Mr.
may,
Chairman.
I believe that it was just perhaps an oversight, no, from the part of the lawyer, because clearly in this letter, he is representing the former president, and information as to the health of the former president was also stated in this letter. Therefore, I believe that he has the imprimatur coming from the former
Mr. Chair.
president. That's the reason why maybe he wrote this letter. So,
Mr. Chair.
Chairman, lastly, Mr. Chairman, with the indulgence of Congressman Flores, of course, let me again stress, Mr. Chairman, this is our tradition and under our rules. And if we do it, if we done it, in regards to Attorney Fortun, a top-notch lawyer, and we excuse Attorney Fortun for not producing any substantial document that he was given an authority from Michael Yang. What's the difference between Attorney Martin Delgra and in the case of the former president?
well,
And I think, Mr. Chairman, kung talaga po, the former president give an authority to Attorney Martin Delgra, then they wrote us a letter. The former president should send us a letter that indeed he's authorizing Attorney Martin Delgra to represent him.
1 minute suspension. Hearing is resumed.
Mr. Chairman,
With the indulgence of Congressman Dan Fernandez, the parliamentary status was the chair had to suspend the hearing for 1 minute in order to resolve the issue of being raised by Congressman Paduano with regards to the letter that the committee received stating, among others, the reason why the former president will not be able to attend the committee hearing today. And Congressman Paduano insisted that we have to stick with the rules
Yes.
of the House. And the chair immediately suspended in order that I can confer with Congressman Paduano so that we can accommodate the request as stated in the letter of the lawyer of former president that he be excused for today's committee hearing. So in this regard, may we ask Congressman Paduano what is the position of the chair of the Committee on Public Accounts?
Mr. Chairman, with regards to the second issue on the medical certificate that being required by this representation to the former president, I will yield to the opinion position of the good chairman,
Thank you.
the lead chairman. But with regards to the authority coming from the former president for Attorney Martin Delgra, we need the document so that he can have an official entry of appearance in the next hearing, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, as I stated earlier, Congressman Paduano, Your Honor, that perhaps it is just an oversight on the part of the counsel of the former president. And I agree that we should ask the counsel to be present in our committee hearing to enter his appearance as the counsel for the former president. So thank you for accommodating my request, Congressman Paduano. So with that, we will now proceed with the next part of
Mr. Chairman,
the agenda.
if I may,
Yes, Congressman Dan Fernandez.
in addition, we were discussing about those two issues that was mentioned by you and by Chairman Paduano. And further, sinasabi po sa Section 9 ng ating rules, no, that yung physically present nung ating pong binigyan ng authority, no, para po mag-represent sa ating pong mga witnesses. And dito po sinasabi, provided further, that no witness shall be granted more than 2 postponements of appearance before the committee without justifiable cause. With that, Mr. Chairman, we have to apply the rules of this committee to all or none at all. Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you for that manifestation, Congressman Fernandez.
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Congressman Abante.
I just would like to make it clear for the people watching this QUADCOMM hearing today. Are we giving special treatment to a witness just because he is the former president? Or just like what Congressman Fernandez said, that this applies to all?
Well, I beg to disagree, Your Honor, that we are giving special treatment. What I am saying and stating for the record that we extend the courtesy due to a former president. Hindi naman po ibig sabihin na hindi na po natin siya imbitahin. On this particular committee hearing that we scheduled for today, the committee has received a letter stating, among others, the reason why the former president cannot be present. So wala hong exception dyan. Hindi ho natin siya binibigyan ng special treatment. I do agree with the chair of the Committee on Human Rights that we should stick with the rules of the House. But in this particular case, in deference to him being the former president, I would like to ask for your understanding to extend a little bit of the courtesy that is due to him for being the former president. Wala hong special favors dito, baka ho ma-misquote ako, yun lamang po ang aking gustong ipalabas. I hope that is understandable And,
Yes,
this,
I fully understand, Mr. Chair, and I agree with your sentiments and statement, though I believe that we should further state on the record, Mr. Chair, according to our rule, that no witness shall be granted more than 2 postponements of appearance before the committee without justifiable cause. Would they be able to do that, Mr. Chair?
Yes, that is noted, and the chair will definitely agree with the position of Congressman Abante, and the chair likewise, for the record, state that we will stick with what the rules has been provided. Thank you, Congressman Abante. So,
Mr. Chair,
Congresswoman
can I be recognized, Mr. Chair?
Arlene Brosas, and then Congressman Plato.
And
And
myself.
then Congresswoman Franz Castro. Yes, Congresswoman
Thank you,
Brosas,
Mr.
you're
Chair.
recognized.
Mr. Chair, just a manifestation, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, on October 18, the QUADCOMM sent an invitation to former President Rodrigo Duterte to attend the QUADCOMM meeting today. Former President Duterte's legal counsel told yesterday that the former president cannot attend the hearing today. Mr. Chair, the non-appearance of former President Rodrigo Duterte at the QUADCOMM hearing today is a clear manifestation of his disregard for truth, justice, and accountability. By refusing to participate, the former president is hindering the people's right to know and denying them the opportunity to seek justice for the crimes caused by the war on drugs during his term. Libo-libo pong buhay ang ninakaw ng Duterte administration dahil sa kanyang peke at madugong gyera kontra droga. Kailangan niyang harapin ang mamamayang Pilipino na matagal nang humihingi ng hustisya. Hindi pwedeng sabihin na short notice at masama ang pakiramdam at kailangan ng pahinga. Ang mga pamilya nga ng mga biktima, kahit matanda na, andyan po si Tatay Baylon, pumunta rito para makapagpahayag ng kanilang saloobin. So Mr. Chair, takot ba siya na harapin ng taong bayan? Yun lang po ang manifestasyon ko, Mr. Chair.
The manifestation is noted. Congressman Plato, you are now recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning to our esteemed chairpersons and honorable members of the Quad Committee, guests and resource person speakers. This is to express my unqualified support to the various House resolutions arising from the tedious Quad Committee inquiry in aid of legislation, specifically on the matter of the surge of Chinese nationals or students enrolling in various educational institutions in the provinces of Cagayan and Isabela. May mga reports po kasi na libo-libong Chinese students ang dumagsa sa probinsya ng Cagayan at Isabela upang mag-aral mula pa noong 2019. It is not that I'm against Chinese students coming to study in the Philippines. However, considering the tension in the West Philippine Sea and the ongoing legislative investigations into the alleged involvement of Chinese individuals, groups, or corporations in illegal pogos, and the alleged crimes associated in your operation, it is understandable for us Filipinos to feel so concerned on your increased presence here, disguising or not as students. Having said that, honorable chairpersons, this representation fully supports the proposed resolutions aimed at bringing clarity to these pogo-related issues in our country. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you very much, Congressman Plato. Before we acknowledge the next member who wished to manifest, allow the chair to acknowledge the presence of Congressman Lordan Suan, Congressman Ernix Junicio, and Congressman Bong Teves. Welcome to the committee hearing. And Congressman Faustino Inodi. Congresswoman Franz Castro, you are recognized for your manifestation.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So, ang kinatawang ito po ay lubos na nababahala at dismayado sa hindi pagdalo ng dating Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte sa hearing ng ating komite. parang naggagayahan lang ang mag-amang Duterte. Ang daming sinasabi kapag hindi under oath o wala sa tamang lugar. Pero kapag pinatawag na sa formal na pagdinig, nag-uugaling pusit na pareho. At ang dami ng rason para huwag dumalo ang sagutin ng maayos ang mga katanungan natin. Kaya I move na kapag hindi pa dumalo si dating Presidente Duterte, susunod na hearing ay i-cite na siya in contempt or kung ano man yung rules natin. Kundi ay ito po ay isang malaking insulto sa mga pamilya. Andyan po yung pamilya ng mga biktima ng madugong war on drugs na nandito po sa atin. Sa kanyang pagtanggi ay nagpapakita lamang ng kawalan ng respeto sa proseso ng investigasyon at sa pagharap sa katotohanan. Mr. Chair, ang mga aligasyon laban sa kanya ay napakaseryoso. Mula sa mga pagpatay sa mga sibilyan, sospek at may hirap, maging sa mga Chinese drug convicts hanggang sa pagkamatay ni Mayor Rolando Espinosa. Hindi ito mga bagay na dapat ipagwalang bahala o iwasan. Kung totoong walang itinatago si dating Pangulong Duterte, bakit hindi niya harapin ang mga tanong natin dito sa committee? Bakit kailangan pang magtago sa likod ng mga dahilan tulad ng health issues at short notice? Mr. Chair, hinihiling ko sa committee na gawin ang lahat ng hakbang upang matiyak ang pagdalo ni dating Pangulong Duterte sa susunod na hearing kung patuloy siyang magtatago at dapat nating isaalang-alang ang paggamit ng ating kapangyarihan para i-cite siya in contempt. Ang bayan ay nangangailangan ng katotohanan at hustisya. Hindi tayo dapat magpatinag sa mga taktika ng pag-iwas at pagtatago. Maraming salamat, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Congresswoman Caso. The
Mr.
last
Chair.
to deliver his manifestation is Congressman Keith Flores, with the indulgence of Congressman Abante. You are now recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, I only want to confirm that I personally know Attorney Delgra, and I called him up during the break, Mr. Chair. He confirmed that he is acting for and in behalf of the President when he wrote that letter, Mr. Chair. He even sent a text message to confirm that. But I also understand that our rules require his physical presence, so I submit to the ruling of our chairpersons.
Question lang, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank
Mr.
you,
Chair.
Congressman Keith Flores. Now, Congressman Abante, before Congressman Manuel. You are recognized, Congressman Abante.
Since Congresswoman Arlene and Franz Castro mentioned the victims, no? Yung mga kamag-anak po ng victims, can we recognize them? Can we ask all of them to stand up, please, to recognize ang mga kamag-anak po ng mga biktima?
Pwede po bang tumayo ang mga kamag-anak po ng biktima? Maraming salamat po. Pwede na po kayong maupo. Maraming salamat. Congressman Manuel and then Congressman Acop. Congressman
Thank you.
Manuel.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, tanong lang dahil batay na rin po sa official communication na pinadala mula sa panig ng dating Pangulo. Nabanggit po doon yung, and I quote, willingness to appear before the House of Representatives on some other available date, preferably after November 1, end of quote. So, Mr. Chair, sa ganitong mga pagkakataon na sa panig po nila nag-express ng ganong availability, how will the committee deal with that? Dahil, Mr. Chair, while meron tayong mga tinitake note na mga considerations, ayaw din naman natin na maprolong iyan, tapos baka tumagal din na hindi pala magiging maayos yung kalusugan ng dating Pangulo at madedeli po ang mga proceedings ng komite na expected na humarap siya. So, sa bahagi ng QUADCOMM, Mr. Chair, do we have some target dates kung kailan talaga posibleng matuloy na ang investigasyon na makaupo ang dating Pangulo? Yan lang, Mr. Chair.
Well, in response to your question, Congressman Manuel, it will depend by and large on the topic that we will set on the next scheduled committee hearing. So in case where EJK will be the scheduled topic, then we will have to extend invitation again to the former president. So thank you. Congressman Acop.
Mr. Chair, pursuant to our rules on inquiry under Section 15, may I respectfully move that we extend our inquiry insofar as the issues raised in the QUADCOMM committee is concerned, because Section 15 requires that we terminate our hearings within a period of 60 days. So may I move, Mr. Chair, that we extend the hearing? So move, Mr. Chair.
There is a motion
Second,
to
Mr.
extend the QUADCOMM hearing. Duly seconded. Are there any objections? Hearing none, the motion is approved. Comsec, please take note that the committee, the QUADCOMM, has unanimously approved the extension of the conduct of this committee hearing. Thank you. Now we proceed with the next part of the agenda. May we ask former Senator LEILA DELIMA for your opening statement.
Mr. Chair, bago po yun, naalaman ko po na meron pang mga nasa baba ng mga EJK victims, ng mga pamilya, na kung meron tayong lugar dito, wala na yata lugar, pwedeng umakyat or pwede na natin kilalanin at recognize.
Wala na po tayong lugar, Your Honor. And hopefully, magkasya po sana po dito lahat ng nating naimbitahang resource persons. But unfortunately, the space is limited. So I believe that they are properly seated sa basement, sa ground floor. And nanonood po sila ng ating hearing sa ngayon. So now we proceed with acknowledging former Senator LEILA DELIMA for your opening statement. Please proceed.
Good morning to the lead chair of the Quad Committee, Representative Barbers, to the chairs of the other committees constituting the QUADCOMM, the members of the QUADCOMM, members of Congress, and also good morning to the other resource persons invited for today's hearing. Actually po, I have both a statement and a presentation. Medyo mahaba po, and I was advised right before the hearing that I should cut it down. Although mahaba po talagang presentation ko. Best efforts, I will try to abbreviate.
Mr. Chair, before our former senator proceeds, can I just request that she puts the mic a little bit closer, just so that we can hear her voice louder. Thank you very much.
Salamat po. I attend this hearing with a deep sense of irony. I have not forgotten that in September and October of 2016, the House Committee on Justice conducted the inquiry on the Bilibid drug trade. However, unlike this hearing, the real subject of that hearing was not really about the drug trade. The real subject of that 2016 House Committee hearing was all about destroying me for conducting a Senate inquiry which in so many aspects was like this one. The only difference between this hearing and that Senate hearing is that my committee inquiry was 8 years earlier and Duterte was at the peak of power. Sa Senate hearing pong yun, ay kinundin ako yung drug war ni Duterte. At nagmakaawa pa po ako na tigilan na ito habang ilang daan pa lang ang mga nagiging biktima at wag na sanang paabutin pa ng libo-libo. Ngunit sa kasawiang palad, wala pong nakinig sa akin, lalo na may mga mayorya po tayo ng mga senador at congressman na ayon kay Senator Bongo noong isang araw, ay walang sawa sa pagpalakpak kay Pangulong Duterte sa bawat banggit niya sa pagsulong na madugong drug war sa kanyang mga zona. Sa halip ako ay pinaaresto, pinakulong, binusalan ng halos 7 taon gamit ang mga gawa-gawang ebidensya katulad ng testimonya ng mga ilang Bilibid drug lords at inmates. I'd like to say that the objective for targeting me was threefold: to silence me, to destroy my credibility, and to serve as an example to others. By doing all three, my message to the people against Duterte's EJKs would no longer be heard or listened to, and no one else would dare to act as a messenger after seeing what was done to me. Since all three were achieved, the EJKs became accepted by public officials and the general population. This led to more killings because no one was arresting
and prosecuting the killer cops and the vigilantes. This was impunity as never seen before in the Philippines outside of Davao. Sobrang nakakalungkot na ngayon lamang nagkaroon ng napaka-komprehensibong pagtalakay ang Kamara de Representantes sa drug war at mga EJK pagkatapos ng tumambak ang libo-libong bangkay na naging biktima ng drug war. Ayon nga po kay Professor Randy David, marahil ang pandinig na ito ng Kamara ay katumbas na rin ng aming pinapangarap na Truth Commission na hihimay sa mga tunay na pangyayari sa 6 na taon na pagpaslang ng ating sariling gobyerno at kapulisan sa libo-libo nating mga kababayan. But right now, I don't want to discuss it, but my position is that pwede pa sigurong i-consider yung creation ng Truth Commission. At tingnan din ho natin na hindi lang po pagpatay ang naging resulta ng war on drugs ni Duterte. There are also those who were unjustly imprisoned based on planted and fabricated evidence. Ako nga po yung one of the very first victims of that. Ngayon naman po, ito na rin po ang pinatutuo yung sa bagong revelasyon ni Police Colonel Royina Garma nang binulgar niya sa huling hearing ng QUADCOMM na siya ang inatasan mismo ni Pangulong Duterte na maghanap ng tao sa PNP na maasahan niya sa pag-iimplementa ng drug war alinsunod sa modelong ginawa niya sa Davao City. That's why my presentation, and I'll try to really make it brief, would cover 4 matters, 4 topics. One is the recent disclosure of Kerwin Espinosa. I'd like to comment on that. 2 is the importance of the 2009 CHR investigation of the DDS to the inquiry of this committee. 3 is the revelation of former Police Colonel Royina Garma that the drug war was modeled after the Davao anti-drug campaign. And I'd like also to touch the relevance of Republic Act number 9851 on crimes against humanitarian law, genocide, and other crimes against humanity in enforcing accountability. So ito na po yung aking presentation. Although meron po akong mga i-skip because actually part of my presentation are some videos, but hindi ko na po yon ipapakita because of the limited time. So nung narinig ko nga po yung testimonya ni Kerwin Espinosa last hearing, it was Senator Bato de la Rosa who ordered him to lie under oath before the Senate in November 2016. Hindi na po ako nagulat doon. Si Kerwin actually already retracted his fabricated testimony against me in April 2022, around the same time that Rafael Ragos, the former Bucor OIC and NBI Deputy Director, also recanted in accusing me of receiving money from believed drug lords. Doon po sa hearing sa Senado, ay talaga namang sinabi ko doon na lahat po ng mga sinasabi nila tungkol sa akin, so yung pagiging protector ko daw nung illegal drug trade ni Mr. Kerwin Espinosa, ay wala ho yung katotohanan. I vehemently, categorically, and firmly went on record in denying those accusations. Sinabi ko rin noon na yung mga sinasabi nila Kerwin Espinosa, ni Ronnie Dayan, and ni Colonel Espinido ay wala talagang katotohanan. In the first place, hindi nga sila magkakilala. Nauna na nilang sinabi yun before they were presented before the Senate na hindi sila mga magkakilala. Dali lang po. So ngayon po, nandito si Colonel Espinido. I saw him earlier. If the Quad Committee would be so kind as to indulge me, gusto ko sana makiusap kay Colonel Espinido. Sabihin niya na yung katotohanan. Kasi yung all he said during that Senate hearing was just let God be the witness to my innocence or something to that effect. Sana po ngayon, Colonel Espinido, sabihin niyo na rin po ang katotohanan. Kung pwede sabihin nyo na rin o i-corroborate nyo yung sinabi ni Kerwin na si then PNP Chief De La Rosa and now Senator De La Rosa ang involved or responsible for ordering the three of you to fabricate accusations against me. Now, sinabi ko rin po kanina na I'd like to discuss the relevance of the CHR investigation and the QUADCOMM inquiry. Maybe at this point, I cannot yet do that. Sasabihin ko lang po na mahalaga yung naging CHR investigation namin in 2009 into the DDS killings. Kasi pwede itong maging reference point in terms of painting a picture of the organization, the Davao Death Squad, the operation, and the implementation of the Duterte drug war from the barangay to the national level. Kasi sinabi na nga ho ni Colonel Garma, yung kanyang mga revelasyon na the extrajudicial killings, yung mga operations under Duterte's drug war beginning in 2016 was just patterned after the Davao model. And the Davao model can only refer or can only mean the DDS model or the Davao Death Squad. Skip muna po natin yan. Doon naman sa affidavit po ni Colonel Garma, presented and expounded upon the last hearing, I'd like to share some information we got and some findings on the Davao model of payment and rewards mentioned by Colonel Garma. This information is limited to the facts uncovered during the 2009 CHR investigation on the Davao Death Squad. Next slide, please. The history of the DDS can be divided into two. The period from 1988 to 1998 and the period from 2001 to 2016. So may break po. The break in these two periods coincides with then Mayor Rodrigo Duterte's hiatus as mayor of Davao City when he was elected congressman instead of mayor in 1998 due to the three-term limit. So for brevity, I'll refer to the former mayor as MRRD. According to a witness in the 2009 CHR investigation, during the first period of the DDS from 1988 to 2000, the assassins were paid $15,000 for every victim. $5,000 goes to the police handler and $10,000 to the assassins, who at the time consisted of rebel returnees aside from the active duty policemen who were their handlers. Their safe house was located inside the Nabelcom compound in Barangay San Pedro, Davao. After the summary execution of targeted victims, the DDS members would regroup at their safe house and divide the reward. During that time, MRRD sometimes personally gave out the kill orders and the reward money directly to the assassins themselves. Upon the return of MRRD as mayor of Davao in 2001, the DDS was upgraded into the Heinous Crimes Investigation Section, or HCIS, located at the Almendras Gym compound. The HCIS was an official unit of the DCPO, or the Davao City Police Office. The HCIS consists of both active duty PNP and civilian abanteros, or hitmen. Most of the hitmen are rebel returnees. They are supervised by PNP handlers. Each handler supervises 3 members. The task of the PNP handler is to give orders to his members as well as be responsible for their protection. According to the CHR witness, he was given a regular monthly salary of $5,000. During this time, the reward given to a team for every victim was anywhere from $13,000 to $15,000. $3,000 to $5,000 goes to the PNP handler, $7,000 to $8,000 was shared among the rebel returnees, and $500 to $1,000 to civilian informants. The HCIS civilian personnel or rebel returnees directly received salaries as auxiliary service workers. The funds for their salaries came from the office of the mayor. Functions have also been specialized, with members being designated to do either office support or field work. A team of 1 PNP handler and 3 civilian abanteros was given an average of 3 targets every month. May I now go also to the revelation of Arturo Las Cañas. Yung mga naging findings po namin, although yung iba po doon, mga unofficial findings ng CHR investigation, were eventually confirmed by Edgar Matobato and Arturo Las Cañas when they went public at the Senate with their stories and executed affidavits in 2016 and 2017. Matobato executed an affidavit and was filed with the Ombudsman as a criminal complaint against Duterte and other DDS members. The criminal complaint is still pending sa Office of the Ombudsman. The most comprehensive account on the DDS from its founding in 1988 up to 2016 is the affidavit of Arturo Las Cañas, which was submitted to the ICC. This affidavit consists of 186 pages of gory details on the sociopathic behavior of Duterte as founder and leader of the DDS. Yung 186-page affidavit po yan, actually it was serialized in an investigative or feature story of Rappler in November 2021. Apparently, Rappler got hold of a copy of this affidavit and also the ICC's third agreement on limited use of information dated November 11, 2020. This instrument gave Las Cañas limited immunity as a witness in the ICC investigation on the Philippine War on Drugs. Noong 2024 naman po, Las Cañas reiterated the contents of his ICC affidavit in another serialized feature, this time published by Veria Files, entitled Conversations with Arturo Las Cañas. Ito naman po ang sinasabi ni Las Cañas, that during the period 1988 to 1998, so I'm just talking here about the organization, kasi napakadami po ng mga sinabi niya sa kanyang comprehensive affidavit. So I'm focusing on the organization of DDS dahil nga ito yung naging model ng drug war. According to Las Cañas' ICC affidavit, during the period 1988 to 1998, when the DDS was constituted as the Anti-Crime Task Force of MRRD, DDS members were paid anywhere from 10,000 to 20,000 for every victim. This was the reward for the ordinary victims. Pag mga matataas naman po, the so-called special project killings, they were rewarded anywhere from 100,000 to 1 million pesos, depending on the status of the target. Civilian hitmen called force multipliers were given 3,000 to 5,000 per victim as their share in this reward. The DDS logistics and finances came from the Peace and Order, or Intel Fund, of MRRD. This includes weekly gas allowance, monthly cash allowance, and Christmas cash gifts. Skip ko na muna po yung iba. Next slide, please. Las Cañas also confirmed the CHR findings on the organizational structure of the DDS under the HCIS, or Heinous Crimes Investigation Section, from 2001 to 2016. And this is as follows. MRRD, alias Superman, as the highest leader and mastermind of the DDS. SPO4 Sanson Benaventura as the logistics, finance, and death clearance feature or officer. SPO3 Arturo Las Cañas as overall team leader for operations and planning. SPO4 Bienvenido Laud as team handler and in charge of the Laud Quarry mass grave. And SPO3 Jim Tan as team handler and in charge of the Mandug mass grave. Actually, mas intricate yung inattach ni Mr. Las Cañas sa kanyang ICC affidavit about the organizational structure of the DDS. What I just mentioned, I just simplified it to show who are really at the top of the DDS hierarchy. Most of the policemen handlers and their respective teams of civilian force multipliers were under the command of Arturo Las Cañas as operations and planning leader of the DDS. So sinabi ko po na that must be the Davao model na binanggit ni Colonel Garma. Finally, by way of just sharing my knowledge, last na po ito, kung pwede po sana. Tungkol na lang muna po sa the law, RA 9851, kasi hindi po ito masyadong alam ng karamihan. We do have a law entitled An Act Defining and Penalizing Crimes against International Humanitarian Law, Genocide and Other Crimes Against Humanity, Organizing Jurisdiction, Designating Special Courts, and for related purposes. This was enacted in December 11, 2009. It punishes almost the same crimes mentioned in the Rome Statute, over which the ICC has jurisdiction. RA 9851 was enacted almost 2 years before the Philippines finally joined the ICC on November 1, 2011, after the Senate ratified the Rome Statute in August 2011. The crime of EJKs carried out by state security forces and their agents in the implementation of the war on drugs fall under the general category of other crimes against humanity, under Section 6, which consists of acts committed as part of a widespread or systematic attack directed against any civilian population with knowledge of the attack. These acts include willful killing, so murder, extermination, murder, multiple murder, torture, and enforced disappearance, among others. The penalty for the crime of systematic attack against any civilian population resulting in death is reclusion perpetua. It's a non-bailable crime. According to Section 8, a person who orders, solicits, or merely induces the systematic attack on the civilian population and which thereafter occurs or is attempted is liable as a principal. The same applies to anyone who contributes to the commission of the crime by a group of persons acting with a common purpose. Section 9 provides that official capacity as a head of state or government shall in no case exempt a person from criminal responsibility under this act, nor shall it in and of itself constitute a ground for reduction of sentence. The crimes defined and penalized under that law, their prosecution and the execution of sentences imposed on their account shall not be subject to any prescription. Pwede po silang tugusin or tugisin habang buhay. Finally, and this one is important, hindi po ito masyadong napapansin, Section 17 on jurisdiction provides that, quote, relevant Philippine authorities may dispense with the investigation or prosecution of a crime punishable under this act if another court or international tribunal is already conducting the investigation or undertaking the prosecution of such crime. Instead, the authorities may surrender or extradite suspected or accused persons in the Philippines to the appropriate international court, if any, or to another state, pursuant to the applicable extradition laws and treaties. Napakasimple po. Sa aking palagay, sa aking pagkaalam, napakasimple po ang ibig sabihin ng batas na ito. Hindi pa tayo miyembro ng ICC o ng Rome Statute, kinilala na natin ang kapangyarihan ng international bodies like the ICC na imbestigahan at litisin ng mga krimeng nasasaad sa RA 9851. Hindi pa tayo miyembro ng ICC, meron na ho tayong general na pahintulot sa anumang mga international body katulad ng ICC na tugisin at litisin ang mga Pilipino na magiging kasabwat sa mga tinatawag na crimes against humanity katulad ng malawakang EJK sa ilalim ng drug war. Hindi pa tayo miyembro ng ICC na ilahad na natin sa batas na yan na kung sakali may international body na nag-iimbestiga ng crimes against humanity, maaari nating isurrender o i-extradite sa international body na katulad ng ICC sa The Hague, Netherlands, and mga sangkot sa mga ganitong klase ng krimen. I do recognize, and I think you will agree with me, that it will be totally discretionary on the part of the Philippine authorities. Just like sa mga sa extradition po natin, na pwede natin na isurrender muna, ipaubaya muna in the requesting party, yung isang akusado na covered sa extradition treaty, pero nasa atin pa rin yun kung gagawin natin yun. Kaya ko po to sinasabi, kasi through this law, we have recognized the jurisdiction of the ICC over crimes against humanity committed in the Philippines, even before we ratified the Rome Statute as a binding treaty. Sarili na po nating batas ang nagsasabi na kailangan natin makipag-ugnayan sa ICC kahit noong hindi pa tayo miyembro ng ICC. Lalo na noong tayo ay miyembro na. At kahit hindi na tayo miyembro ng ICC dahil sa makasariling pagkalas ni Duterte sa ICC noong 2018. Para sabihin natin na wala na tayong pakialam sa ICC, kailangan muna nating ipawalang bisa ang batas na ito. However, I respectfully submit, rather than repeal this law, we should now take steps to retract the self-serving act of Mr. Duterte to withdraw from the ICC in 2018. We must return to the fold of the ICC. We must rejoin the community of nations who have recognized the need for an international body of nations who have recognized to go after the perpetrators of the most terrible crimes against humanity, the hostis humani generis, the enemies of humankind. Mga kaaway lamang ng sangkatauhan ang takot sa pagsasanib puwersa ng mga bansa upang matigil ng pagpatay ng walang habas sa ngalan ng Estado. But having said that, I still appreciate so much, many people appreciate so much the efforts of this Quad Committee that can very well be indeed the Truth Commission. Kaya lang tindang ho natin, yung napaka-komplikado talaga ng usapin ng war of drugs. Kadaming biktima na hindi naman natin pwedeng busisiin lahat for every individual acts of killing. Kundi, dapat anuhin natin, maganda nga yung nangyayari doon sa mga revelasyon ni Colonel Garma, na ganyan yung ginamit nilang model. At tinuturo mismo si Mr. Duterte. So ano lang siya? Supplemental, ano lang siya? It's just corroborating everything else that we know from news reports, from other information, and from yung mga nangyayari beginning in 2016. So I just shared my views on the need to rejoin ICC kasi you can never tell in the future ano man yung resulta ng itong ginagawang investigasyon ng Quad Committee, na in the future we will have another tyrant, another mass killer for a president. So, ganun po ang aking opinion sa bagay na yan. Maraming salamat
Mr.
po.
Chair,
Thank you, Senator LEILA DELIMA, for your sharing with us in the QUADCOMM your opinion on the very important national issue of extrajudicial killings. So,
clarificatory lang.
Congressman Abante, you're now recognized.
Former Senator, kailan niyo po itong napag-aralan? Nung kayo po ay CHR pa? CHR pa ho kayo?
Opo. I became a CHR chairperson in 2008. Noong 2009 po, sinimulan namin yung investigation into the Davao Death Squad killings. Dahil nga may mga impormasyon po kami noon, and nakita lalo namin yung report ni UN Special Rapporteur Philip Alston, and some other reports like the one issued by the Human Rights Watch, You Can Die Anytime. The title of that is You Can Die Anytime, referring to the killings under this group, which are now euphemistically called the Davao Death Squad. Kaya lang po, if I may say so, na yung aking pong termino or yung aking pag-upo bilang CHR chairperson hanggang 2010 lang po. Dahil in 2010, na-appoint na po ako as Justice Secretary ng dating Pangulong Noynoy Aquino. So
pinagpatuloy niyo po ba yung investigasyon ng kayo Secretary of ng Justice Department?
Konti lang po yung mga nagawa ng DOJ nung secretary na po ako. Although si Matobato, sumipot po siya, at we gave him, the DOJ gave him witness protection. Kaya lang, nung uupo na po in 2016, yung dating Pangulong Duterte, bilang Pangulo, ay umalis na po siya sa witness protection program. Yun po ang pagkakaalam ko. Pero meron po akong extensive personal investigation notes on what we gathered. Kasi yung mga nakausap namin in the course of that CHR inquiry na magaganda o mahalaga yung mga sinasabi nila, kasama na rin yung tungkol sa reward system, ay sila po yung mga kinausap lang namin ng mga sikreto lang. Kasi ayaw nilang humarap doon mismo sa open public inquiry ng CHR
Marami
noong
ho kayo
2009.
nakausap.
About, if I'm not mistaken, it's about 5 of them. At in-interview lang namin sila. Kasi sa karamihan sa kanila ay hindi naman ayaw pong mag-execute ng formal affidavit, but we interviewed them. That's why I took down notes, personal notes, and gumamit nga po sila ng mga aliases.
Maaari niyo po bang isubmit ang inyong findings sa committee?
Yes, I can share with this committee my personal investigation notes on the conduct of the CHR inquiry. Kasi pag alis ko nga po, wala pa yung resolution. Later on, the CHR under new leadership came out with a resolution. I think that was in June of 2012.
Okay, Mr. Chair, did you also submit that to the ICC? Your findings,
My personal notes, I think I have. My personal notes, at meron pa ho ako mga iba na mga shinare with the ICC.
One last question, Mr. Chair. I would like to refer to Colonel Espinido. You were directly mentioned by the former senator. So will you please answer her now on that issue? Are you corroborating with the former senator on this, or?
Good morning, Your Honors, Mr. Chair. Good morning, ma'am. For me, as Chief of Police at that time in Albuera, I am one of endorsing the complaint to the DOJ. One of those names is Ma'am LEILA DELIMA for the affidavit that was already made by Mayor Espinosa together with his lawyer, Villarino. So as Chief of Police, I am one who endorsed that complaint to the Ombudsman. But for me, as I remember when we talked with Ma'am DeLima in the Senate, that I'm telling her that, Ma'am, the truth will set you free. Because for me, I am innocent for that, as just only a Chief of Police who endorsed the complaint to the DOJ. But yung knowledge talaga, sir, hindi ko alam kung totoo na siya involved si Ma'am. No, as being Chief of Police lang, na yun talaga ang procedure na mag-endorse kung may mga complaint. Pero I believe at the time, Your Honors, Mr. Chair, na kinausap na si Mayor Espinosa kung nalaman naman ng buong mundo na si Mayor Espinosa was already there in Kamkrami to Sirbato for surrender. So pag turn over niya sa akin, dala na yung mga statement na ganon. So what I did is just only to endorse the complaint to the Ombudsman, Your Honors, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair, thank you. I'll be asking more questions later on.
Thank you, Congressman Abante. We have a list of those who will interpellate Senator LEILA DELIMA. And the first to interpellate is Congressman Raul Manuel. You are recognized. You have 10 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning po sa fellow members ng QUADCOMM, sa mga resource persons din po natin. Mr. Chair, nabanggit po ni Senator LEILA DELIMA na ang leader mismo ng Davao Death Squad ay mismo yung dating mayor din, Mayor Rodrigo Duterte. Did I hear it right, Mr. Chair?
Yes, those are the claims of those witnesses that we talked to. That is also the claim of Edgar Matobato and Arturo Las Cañas.
At Mr. Chair, siya po yung merong alias na Superman bilang leader ng Davao Death Squad.
That is correct.
Mr. Chair, given na meron ngang mga rewards dun sa mga napapatay na mga suspects or involved di umano sa drug trade, Mr. Chair, ano ang source nitong binayad dun sa mga kasama yung mga informants, yung mga civilian na mga force multipliers, pati sa mga assassins?
Nabanggit ko po yan sa statement ko kanina o sa presentation ko kanina na meron nang gagaling from the Office of the Mayor itself, the intel funds from the Office of the Mayor. The DDS logistics and finances came from the Peace and Order or Intel Fund of MRRD. That's according to the CHR witnesses and also from Las Cañas ICC affidavit.
Mr. Chair, may we get once again yung breakdown, ano po yung mga pwedeng pinagpuntahan nitong intelligence funds? Halimbawa, as mentioned, meron pong pati mga Christmas gifts dun sa mga police na aktibong nagpatupad ng ganitong tipo ng giyera kontra droga.
Yes, yung nasa isang slide kanina, yung according to the CHR witness, kung ilan yung amount, kung magkano yung amount for the 1988 to 2000 period. Kasi sinabi ko kanina na actually 2 periods yung DDS. 1998 to 2000, then 2001 to 2016. Nagkaroon ng break nung naging congressman yung dating mayor. Now, so 15,000, 5,000 to the handler, 10,000 to the assassins, and then yung sa 13,000 to 15,000, 3,000 to 5,000 for the handler, 7,000 to 8,000 for the assassins, and 500 to 1,000 for civilian informant abanteros. They call them abanteros. Yung kay Mr. Las Cañas naman, ang sinabi niya sa kanyang affidavit, DDS members were paid anywhere from 10,000 to 20,000 for every victim. Yun yung sa mga ordinary victims. At yun naman, meron naman tinatawag na special project killings, mas mataas. They were rewarded anywhere from 100,000 to 1 million pesos depending on the status of the target. Yun po ang mga natandaan ko nung binasa ko yung affidavit ni Mr. Las Cañas at doon din po nung binasa ko at review ko yung aking personal investigation notes from the CHR investigation.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, merong nabanggit din na merong weekly gas allowance. Bahagi po ba iyon ng bayad sa mga pulis na nagpatupad ng Davao level war on drugs, merong weekly gas allowance, may
Yes.
bukod pang cash allowance, tsaka
Yes.
Christmas gifts.
According to Mr. Las Cañas, this includes weekly gas allowance, monthly cash allowance, and Christmas cash gifts.
Mr. Chair, ano po ang pagtingin ng ating resource person, Senator LEILA DELIMA? Kasi kung ang nabanggit ni Colonel Garma ay pinatupad ang Davao model from ang scope lang ay sa Davao City at ginawa itong isang nationwide na drug campaign. At ang source ng funding para dun sa rewards, Mr. Chair, ay ang intelligence fund sa Davao City. Posible po ba na ang ginamit din dun naman sa nationwide na war on drugs ay ang intelligence funds, pero this time ay yung intelligence funds ng Office of the President?
Mr. Chair, Your Honors, the possibility is always there, but I have no knowledge about that. I don't know that. Wala pa po akong nakita na mga dokumento na nasa akin na yun talaga ang source nung drug war na from 2016 up to 2022. But it's quite possible kasi meron talagang reward system. We can only surmise at this point in the absence of direct evidence na meron talagang magsasabi kung saan talaga yun ang galing. Maybe sila Colonel Garma, sina Colonel Leonardo, baka alam nila because they were part of that. Si Colonel Garma, yung inutusan according to her na maghanap ng pwedeng mag-implement ng drug war based on the Davao model. And this is, yung sinabi ko kanina, this was the Davao model. May kasamang mga reward, may kasamang mga cash incentives, may bracketing din. Depende kung sino involved, kung sino papatayin. And so that's the reward, that's the incentives. So, posible rin na gumamit uli ng Intel Fund, this time from the Office of the President.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Before I proceed sa iba kong tanong, dahil Mr. Chair, kung doon pa lang sa unang taon ng pagpapatupad ng war on drugs sa ilalim ni former President Rodrigo Duterte, doon sa Committee on Human Rights, kuha nating figure at mismo ay yun pa yung sinight na accomplishment sa report ng Presidential Communications Office ay umabot sa nasa ilang tens of thousands. Kung ang iti-take nating figure, Mr. Chair, ay 20,000, kasama doon yung mismo ay confirmed na police yung pumatay, tapos maging yung mga vigilante killings, Mr. Chair, na ang pumatay ay pwedeng hindi kilalang mga tao, pero bahagi yun ng tinuturing na tagumpay, di umano, ng war on drugs. Kinompute kasi natin, Mr. Chair, kung 20,000, doon pa lang sa time frame na yon, 20,000 na yung mga napatay. Tapos, kung yung minimum na reward ay 50,000, assuming pa lang na mga small time or yung mga peddlers, yung mga pinatay, Mr. Chair, at least aabot ko, imumultiply natin, Mr. Chair, 20,000 times 50,000, kakailanganin ang nasa 1 billion pesos pa lang dun sa mga reward sa pagpatay, Mr. Chair. Hindi pa kasama dito yung mga allowances, yung mga kung merong mga weekly gas allowance pa rin, weekly cash allowance at iba pa. Sa rewards pa lang, Mr. Chair, sa ganong time frame, 1 billion pesos na ang kailangan. Pero Mr. Chair, kung ikukumpara kasi natin sa intelligence funds pa lang ng PNP, and let's take yung first year ng Duterte administration, ang intelligence funds ng PNP noong 2017 ay nasa 468 million pesos lamang, Mr. Chair. Walang kalahating bilyong piso ang intelligence funds ng PNP. So kung ganun, Mr. Chair, saan pwede talagang kumuha nung ganun kalaking pera bilang pangbayad bilang premyo doon sa mga pulis na nakapatay. Kaya Mr. Chair, kung magpo-process of elimination tayo, dahil PNP lang naman yung pwedeng ahensya, sana na pagkunan ng ganun. Pero then again, kahit yung intelligence funds ng PNP hindi sapat. So wala nang ibang agency, Mr. Chair, na merong mas malaki pang intelligence funds na pwedeng pagkunan. Walang iba, kundi yung mismong Office of the President. Lalo na kung itutugma din natin yan dun sa mga testimonya na merong mga taga-presidential management staff na bahagi rin nung channel, nung reward system na ito mula sa presidente patungo sa mga kasunod na mga level ng mga police officers, maging si Senator Bongo, si PNP Chief Bato de la Rosa, at iba pang mga dating opisyal under the Duterte administration. Kaya with that, Mr. Chair, tingin natin meron ding sapat na batayan para atin na ring silipin paano ginamit ng Duterte administration ang kanyang intelligence funds. Darating din sa punto, Mr. Chair, na dapat ay mag-issue na rin tayo ng subpoena ducis tecum sa mga dokumento na sinubmit ng Office of the President to COA, to the Commission on Audit, para talaga mabusisin natin kung ano yung naging justifications for the use of intelligence funds by the Office of the President under Rodrigo Duterte. So, kasunod, Mr. Chair, kasunod na tanong kay Senator LEILA DELIMA. Nabanggit po kasi ang tungkol sa quarry mass grave. At kung isipin ko palang kahindik-hindik ito, Mr. Chair, kaya pasintabi na lang po sa ating mga kababayan na baka sa ganitong oras ay kumakain habang nanonood sa QUADCOMM hearing. Mr. Chair, meron po bang binigay na description yung kung sino mang witness patukol sa paano ba na-facilitate ang ganitong mga mass grave? Paano gumagana yung, paano hinandle ang ganitong mga mass grave?
Mr. Chair, Your Honors, kasama po kasi sa organizational structure ng DDS ay yung pinakita po kanina na there is this SPO4 Bienvenido Laod as team handler and in charge of the Laod Quarry Mass Grave. Nandyan din po yung si SPO3 Jim Tan as team handler and in charge of the Mandug Mass Grave. Doon pa lang ho, nung nag-iimbesti kami sa 2009, may mga nakapagsabi na po sa amin na meron ganyan na mga mass graves kung saan tinatapon yung mga naging biktima ng DDS. Now, sinubukan ho namin na puntahan yung sa Laod Quarry. Kaya lang, nung pagdating po namin doon, mukhang hindi ho namin naabot yung exact location kasi the Laod property is a hilly part. Medyo ano po yun, parang hill. And then, akala namin hanggang dun lang at a certain point, nakakita kami ng ilan-ilan, konti lang, na human remains, skull. Pero we learned later na hindi naman pala doon yung mga talagang mass grave of that property. It was in a higher portion of the Laod property, na nandun nga daw po yung karamihan ng mga tinatapon nila na mga pinatay. So there are actually several mass graves from various sources. Yung Laod, and then yung Mandug mass grave, and then meron din ho sa Samal Island. Yun po ang mga impormasyon na nakuha namin. So we actually applied for search warrant. But then, nag-quinash ho ng isang RTC of Manila or Quezon City, I'm not sure anymore. Later, na reverse yung quashal of the search warrant ng Court of Appeals. And then eventually, the Supreme Court in 2014 affirmed the validity of the search warrant or affirmed the decision of the Court of Appeals. Kaya lang, wala na hong naging follow-up implementation of the warrant of arrest, either by CHR or by PNP, because I think because by 2014, insofar as CHR is concerned, its investigation closed already when it submitted or issued its resolution of June 2012. So hindi na po na-follow up yung ano sana ng mga mass graves na yan.
Mr. Chair, may nabanggit na tatlong location ng mga mass grave. Doon sa course ng investigation ni Senator LEILA bilang dating chairperson ng Commission on Human Rights, meron po bang credible estimate kung ilan itong mga mass grave na ito na siyang facilitate ng Davao Death Squad bilang bahagi ng war on drugs?
It was difficult to really determine with to come up with a credible figure. Ang natatandaan ko po, yung si Edgar Matobato, meron din po siyang sinabi tungkol dyan. I'm not sure if he actually mentioned any number with respect dun sa mga alam niya na mga linibing nila. In fact, in some of those, participant talaga siya sa paglilibing kasama yung mga iba pang miyembro ng DDS. So I have to check from Mr. Matobato's affidavit, and also his testimony before the Senate, kung meron siya talagang nabanggit na estimate of the number. But again, I think it would be difficult really na makuha natin kung ilan talaga yung mga linibing doon.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Pero Mr. Chair, at least, so far alam natin, merong at least 3 na mga mass grave. Tama po ba?
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Kasi Mr. Chair, isipin pa lang natin, kahit nga isang mass grave pa lang ay sobrang heinous na ng kung sino man yung mga gagawa ng isang ganong bagay. Tapos doon lang basta-basta magtatambak ng mga bangkay ng mga tao na merong mga pamilya, 'di ba? Merong mga pinanggagalingan din, merong mga gusto sanang gawin sa buhay pero napatay na lang ng gano'n na lamang. Mr. Chair, meron po ba kahit isa lang doon sa mga bangkay mula sa mga mass grave na na-retrieve pa para maibalik sa kanilang mga pamilya?
Wala po ako matandaan.
At Mr. Chair, meron din bang mga pamilya na lumapit sa CHR dahil ang suspecha po nila ay dahil hindi na nila mahanap yung kanilang mga pamilya, sila po ay nag-isip na baka nasa mass grave na yung bangkay ng kanilang mga kamag-anak. May ganun po bang mga instances?
Wala po akong ma-recall if there are really families ng mga victims sa DDS killings na lumapit sa CHR para hanapin yung kanilang mga bangkay. Ang alam ko, because it's more recent, is that may mga families of victims who visited me when I was in jail at Camp Crame at the PNP Custodial Center, and there were quite a number of them who relayed to me yung mga naging experience nila, yung tungkol sa pagpatay under the war on drugs. But as to the mass graves, again, I will have to review my personal notes. Comprehensive po yung aking personal notes, and I'll have to check that out. Mr. Chair, Your Honors.
Mr. Chair, noong ginawa ng nationwide model, yung model ng war on drugs galing sa Davao, na pinamunuan nung then Mayor Rodrigo Duterte. Mr. Chair, dahil I would assume na hindi na ganun kadaling mag-set up ng mga mass graves, lalo na kung ginawa halimbawa yung Oplan Tokhang sa mga urban centers. So, in that case, ay based dun sa initial investigations nung si Senator LEILA DELIMA ay nag-lead na po ng isang komite sa Senado, ano na po yung kadalasang paraan para ma-dispose yung bangkay ng mga naging biktima, no? Kahit ng mga innocenteng biktima ng war on drugs?
Siyempre yung mga sa salvaging. Pero alam niyo po about the Senate inquiry. I was the chairperson of the Senate Committee on Justice and Human Rights, but I was able to preside or conduct only an inquiry for 3 hearings. Kasi po after the 3rd hearing, kung saan prinisenta ko po si Edgar Matobato, ay inalis na po ako bilang chairperson of that committee by the majority of my colleagues then. So iba na po yung nagpatuloy. Because in that Senate inquiry, gusto ko sana talagang tukuyin na yung mga killings na yan, starting in 2016, are really state-sponsored or state-inspired. Kaya lang, as I would remember, may naka-ready actually na about 13 CHR witnesses from the CHR na pinovide sa Senate Committee on Justice and Human Rights. Pero dalawa pa lang po yung naipresent ko, and also si Mr. Edgar Matobato, but I was already ousted as a CHR chairperson. Now, after the third hearing, what I recall is that 3 more hearings were done under a new chairperson. Pero, it was abruptly terminated kasi they did not even call the other available CHR witnesses na ready sanang i-present before I was ousted as CHR chairperson. They did not even present them. So, ang nangyari, they issued the findings, the resolution, and one of the core finding is that there's no evidence that the killings at that time were actually state-sponsored. Something that I wanted to prove sana kung hinayaan lang po ako. Although of course I could understand that perhaps it was such a tough job, a tough challenge for me to prove it. Especially that nandyan pa yung dating Pangulo sa poder, na nahihirapan pa na talagang kumuha ng mga iba pa, ng mga witnesses, especially from within. Hindi katulad po ngayon na naglalabasan na po sila. May mga insiders na po na sinasabi na kung ano yung mga nalalaman nila, but not during that time. Pero I wanted to do it. After sana the presentation of those CHR witnesses, these are individual accounts of individual cases of summary execution during operations, yung mga sinasabi nilang nanlaban, pero hindi naman pala nanlaban. I was also looking at the medical certificates, the various medical certificates that we got. Marami po yun. At ang dami talaga mga kaduda-duda doon. And of course, we summoned then PNP Chief Bato de la Rosa and other officials of the PNP, but they were all denying that these are the workings of PNP forces or that these are cases of EJKs and let alone state-sponsored killings. So yun po. So nothing came out. It was almost a whitewash.
Kindly wrap up, please.
Yes, huling topic, Mr. Chair, since na-present din ang relation ng ating local law dun sa ICC or yung International Criminal Court. Since some camps would say na hindi dapat tayo maging open sa quote-unquote intervention. Ganon yung tinatawag sa mga hakbang na ginagawa ng International Criminal Court since dapat daw ay ipatupad natin yung ating sariling batas. Huwag daw tayong pumayag na panghimasukan tayo. No? Ganon yung pagtingin sa ginagawa ng ICC. But since Senator LEILA mentioned yung Section 17 ng RA 9851, tama po ba yung aking interpretation, Mr. Chair, na pinapatupad pa rin naman natin yung ating local law, which is yung RA 9851, if the Philippine government cooperates with the International Criminal Court? Dahil sa committee nga po natin, Mr. Chair, sa Committee on Human Rights and Committee on Justice, we approved a resolution. We are urging, as part of the legislative, we are urging the executive na mag-cooperate sa ICC when it comes to this war on drugs. So, ibig sabihin, Mr. Chair, we are not surrendering our sovereignty. We are actually implementing the intent of our domestic laws kapag mag-cooperate ang Philippine government sa ICC. Tama po ba yung aking pagtingin, Mr. Chair?
Tama po yan, Mr. Chair and Your Honors. Dahil nga nandyan ang batas. In fact, nauna pa yan, 2009, before the Senate ratified the Rome Statute. But yung Rome Statute po was signed as early as 2000. I was just reminded by Attorney Conte earlier that it was actually signed by the former President Erap Estrada. Kaya lang, the ratification took some time. So it was only in 2011. But before that, pinasanga itong RA 9851. And sa pagbabasa ko nga po ng mga provisions ng 9851, it is as if those who pushed for that are actually anticipating that there would be an international body that would be coming in or would be involved in the investigation of crimes that would fall under any of those crimes cognizable by ICC, including crimes against humanity. Kaya nila siguro pinasok yung Section 17 na yan. Malinaw sa akin na kahit may investigasyon tayo dito, pwede pa tayong makipag-cooperate. And there's nothing in the Rome Statute which says, except the complementarity principle, na ang hinihintay kasi ng ICC ay yung genuine investigation focusing on those with the highest or the greatest responsibility. If I may just quote from the ICC pre-trial chamber's decision in January 26, 2023, decision authorizing the resumption of the investigation. Ang naging conclusion nila, kaya they ordered for the resumption of the proceedings of the ICC investigation at dinismiss nila yung appeal ng Philippine government. And I quote, "The domestic proceedings in the Philippines do not sufficiently mirror the expected scope of the court's investigation, since they only address the physical low-ranking perpetrators and at present do not extend to any high-ranking officials." Further, the ICC pretrial chamber said, "The chamber finds that the PH has failed to demonstrate that the Philippines has failed to demonstrate that it has conducted relevant investigations and prosecution with respect to 4 issues." This was in 2023, as I said, ito yung decision nila authorizing the resumption. Number 1, the alleged killings in Davao from 2011 to 2016, which is within the duration of the ICC investigation. Pwede lang kasi mag-imbestiga yung ICC from yung sa 2011 up to 2019 when the withdrawal became effective. Number 2, crimes other than murder committed in connection with the war on drugs. 3, the killings outside official police operations, meaning yung mga riding in tandem, yung mga hindi natin sigurado kung mga police ba yan or are these agents of police officers, yung mga assassins. And number 4, and this is very important, the responsibility of individuals beyond the physical perpetrators of the alleged crimes. So ang hinihintay nila, yung mga tunay na investigasyon targeting or involving yung mga nasa taas, beginning with the former president, who is clearly the mastermind as he induced the killings. And that is becoming clearer and clearer as nakikita natin dito sa mga lumalabas sa QUADCOMM hearing. Then that is the complementarity principle. Since hindi pa nila nakikita may tunay na investigasyon, and when they say investigation or proceedings, they are clearly referring to criminal proceedings. So ito pong magiging resulta ng QUADCOMM. Fine, I think we can be hopeful and optimistic na may mga lalabas. Pero later po, o may lalabas na resolusyon na can also categorically identify yung mga nasa taas based on the evidence na makakalap o kinakalap na ngayon ng Quad Committee. But later, kung hanggang doon lang po at hanggang doon lang yung mga gagawin din ng Kongreso, because ang mandato ng Kongreso is, in aid of legislation to enact laws, it can only recommend to the other relevant agencies and offices kung ano pa mga dapat gawin, including the investigation. Kung wala talaga yung investigation na yan, hindi po natin pwedeng pigilan ang ICC. Because yun na yung sinabi nila. Kasi hindi pa naman talaga tina-target, puro lang sa low level. Tsaka yung ICC is not actually focusing on the low level. It's not possible for them to look into each and every case of killings under war on drug. Kaya doon sila nakatuon sa mga those with the greatest responsibility. So,
Okay,
yun po.
so to wrap up, Mr. Chair,
This is your last question, Congressman
Yes.
Manuel. Thank
yes,
you.
so just a closing manifestation, Mr. Chair, na batay dun sa mga narinig natin, edi habang yung mga nasa tuktok kasi dati na ngayon ay dapat sanang sumagot sa mga tanong natin ay naghahanap ng iba't ibang paraan para makaiwas o parang nakikipag-patintero tayo sa kanila, Mr. Chair. Kaya sa totoo lang, dapat ay ma-exhaust natin yung iba't ibang mga paraan para talaga maisulong yung hustisya para dun sa mga naging biktima ng extrajudicial killings. At bahagi niyan, Mr. Chair, habang meron tayong mga ganitong investigasyon, actually, yung pagsulong din ng investigasyon ng ICC, it complements our efforts dito sa bansa natin. And also, Mr. Chair, yung fact din na dahil nga mula sa Davao ay in-apply on a nationwide scale kung ano yung kanilang approach dun sa Davao at intelligence funds yung ginamit nila doon, we also observe a pattern, Mr. Chair, na from just 250 million pesos na level ng intelligence funds for the Office of the President, lumobo pa ito to 1.25 billion pesos. Kaya, Mr. Chair, malaki yung posibilidad talaga na ito din ay isa sa pinagmulan ng pera para mapagana yung peke at madugong war on drugs. Kaya dapat din ay mabusisi natin paano yan ginamit ng Duterte administration. Yun lang, Mr. Chair.
Thank
Maraming
you,
salamat.
Chair.
Thank you, Congressman Manuel.
Mr. Chair, can I just add very, very short?
Okay, please,
Meron po
Senator,
kasing sinabi
make it
si,
short. Yeah.
Honorable Manuel. Isa pa ho sa sinabi ng ICC pre-trial chamber in concluding na it does not sufficiently mirror their investigation. Itong mga proceedings, whatever proceedings were being conducted as of 2023. Ang sabi po, any ongoing domestic investigation, at least that's as of 2023, has failed to inquire into any pattern of criminality or the systematic nature of crimes. So gusto po yan i-establish ng ICC dahil hindi pa nila nakita yan sa mga investigasyon dito. The pattern of criminality or the systematic nature of crimes o yung state policy angle. Yun po ang dapat tingnan din.
Okay,
Thank you po.
Thank you, Senator DeLima. Before we proceed with the next interpellator, let me remind the honorable members of the committee that we have invited several resource persons for today's committee hearing. And as much as we would like to ask questions or interpellate our resource person, former Senator LEILA DELIMA, there are other equally important resource persons that we have invited with regard to the issue of EJK. So if I may request the honorable members to shorten our questions, we will have several opportunities because this is not the first and the last that we will invite Senator LEILA DELIMA. There will be several opportunities for all of us to be able to ask questions on the issue.